guys, so the next thing we're going to do here is set up the WebHose integration. So to do that, what we're going to do is go to webhose.io, create your account, and then once you've logged in, you can go to your dashboard and you can see you'll have your API key there, and all you have to do is copy and paste that and save that somewhere because we'll need it in just a second. Once you've done that, you're just going to scroll down, copy and paste this code, and then we'll go back to our IDE, and we'll paste that in. And make sure to click Control S to save that. So now what you're going to need to do is with that API key from earlier, you're going to paste that in there, and then also specify the name of your Google Sheet and the tab name. So again, this is the Google Sheet that I used earlier, and so my sheet name is going to be what's up here, and then the tab name is going to be down here. I have WebHose. So I'll just put those in, and then from there you're going to want to save again. And now all you really need to worry about is this right here, which is our query. So working with WebHose is a little bit more complicated than the Twitter integration just because there's a lot more options for when you're making your queries. For Twitter, basically just put in some keywords and return the results. For this, you can put in keywords, filtering options, sorting options, all sorts of stuff. So most of that I'm just going to leave for the documentation on the web page, just because it's easier for people to look through that. So if you want to see all the filtering options and stuff, you can check out the main documentation quick start guide. But for now, I'm just going to show a couple examples so you get a basic idea how this works. So I'm going to paste in this query. And so basically what's going to happen here is you can see inside these parentheses we have Python and programming. So basically the first thing it's going to do is look for web page results that contain the words Python and the word programming, because if we just put in Python, the issue you're going to run into is you're going to get a lot of articles about snakes, which you don't want. So you always want to make sure to be specific, otherwise you're going to waste your API calls on a bunch of results that you don't want. The next, so this is our main keyword where it's defined, and next is our filtering option. So you can see site reddit.com. So what that means is that it's only going to pull down results that are from Reddit. So, and the second filter is this thing that says is first, which means instead of looking through every comment, it's just going to look for actual posts on Reddit that contain these words. If you got rid of this, it would look for any basically any comment or post on Reddit during the time frame you specify. It would look for those. So for this, we're just going to filter out all the comments and just look for post titles. So now what we want to do is we can see we have our query here, and then we call it here. So we're going to go to our terminal and open that up. Then we're going to go into our project folder. So you can see tutorial. We're going to move into that. Just click enter, and then we're going to do Python 3, and then the name of this folder, which we have to save. And now that we got that saved, what we're going to do is just put in this file name. So whatever you call that, I've got named WebHose. We're going to do Python 3 webhose.py, and then just click enter. And basically what it's doing now is it's making that API call. And then, so for this example, you can see it gave us 44 total results. If it's more than 100, that's the limit for each API call, so we'll have to call it again. So we can see here it gives us no results left, exiting. So it exit out of the program because there is no need to make additional API calls. So if we go to our sheet now, we can see we have 44 rows. So what these are, this is the title of the post. This is the domain rank. So this is 33. That means Reddit is the 33rd largest site in the world by traffic. So you can specify, like if you don't do a site-specific filter like I did, and you have a bunch of different sites, you could then sort that based on the biggest sites. So if you're looking for backlinks or something, you'd want to filter based on that so that you don't waste your time on really small sites. Maybe you want to prioritize the biggest sites. And then we can see, obviously, we have the domain itself, and then this is the link to the post. So if you click on this, it'll redirect you to the post itself, and then you can check out what exactly is on that web page. If you want to contact the site owner, stuff like that, that's what you can do there. So now the last thing I really want to go over is what happens if it's a larger request where it has over 100 results. So what I'm going to do is delete these filtering options so that we get more results. And then we can kind of go over so you can see exactly what's going to happen. So Python 3, we're just going to do the same command here. And we'll wait for that result to come in. And by default, probably should have went over it earlier, but by default it looks for all the results in the last week. So if you want to do more or less time, you could go into here and specify days, and you could put in 1 day or 30 days. The limit is 30. They'll reject your request if you go over 30. By default, this is like what it'll be automatically. If you don't put anything, if you just delete that, it'll say 7 days. But as we can see here, so now it says total results 4,475. And then it'll say requests required. If you want to get all those results, it's going to take you 45 requests, 100 per request basically. And it'll also give you a little warning here that you have 1,000 at the start of each month. You get 1,000 requests, and basically if this is more than this number, it'll reject it automatically, or you can manually do it as well. So now our option is if you want all the data, you can click Y here. So if you click Y and then enter, it'll grab all those requests and send it to the Google Sheet. Your other option is click N. If you type in N, it'll automatically cancel out of the program. And then the third option is you can put Y, then 1 space, and you can put in a number. So if you don't want to get all those requests, you can put in like 10. So instead of making all 45, if you add this Y with a space after and then a number, it'll just grab 10 or whatever number you specify. So for now, we're just going to click N, and you can see it cancels out of there. So I'm going to have a lot of examples of how you can use these queries on the web page itself. So you're going to want to take a look at that, just because I'll cover most use cases and also like a variety of different ways, as well as like the syntax. Like for example, the reason we have these backslashes is it's something to do with Python, where you have to escape quotes, otherwise it won't be able to read it correctly and you'll get errors. So that's why these backslashes are there, and I'll go into that in detail on the web page itself, so you know how to do all these. Even if you're not a programmer, it's not too difficult to manage. Another thing, if you want to practice your understanding of this, if you want to experiment a little bit, is if you go to your dashboard and then the API playground, you can see they have a user interface, so you can practice with this too. So if you want to add filters, you have all these options. And right now I don't have all those. I'm going to work on making this overall easier to use, so you don't have to type it all out. There'll be like some automatic built-in features and stuff, but for now it's basically kind of like a prototype where you have to enter this stuff into the query. But if you scroll down here, you can see it'll give you a visual representation of all the data for this request. So you can scroll around, you can click right in here, you can click to the website for the various results that are pulled up. And if you go down here, you can see this is basically what I just used over in that IAD. If you pull this in, that's basically what I just copy and pasted into here. So if you want to experiment around with that, I would recommend that, the API Playground, and also just take a look at the Quick Start Guide as well.